Welcome to the deep dive. We are tearing through a stack of sources today that plunges us straight into a brutal, high-stakes fantasy world, a world where God-given magic, raw personal fury, and dense political destiny collide.
Absolutely. Our focus is the narrative of Freya, a character literally born into fire, whose life becomes defined by prophecy, toxic ambition, and just overwhelming betrayal.
Right.
We're mapping her journey, focusing on her secret abilities, her brutal rise to freedom, and the labyrinthine political chess game played by figures like Jarl Snorri, King Harald, and the powerful warrior Bjorn.
Okay, so the core mission here, for you listening, is to understand the central tension. What does it mean to be fated? And what is the true price and power of being unfated, that rare ability to choose your own destiny?
And that tension starts immediately, doesn't it? Frey is trapped in a marriage she despises to Vragi.
Oh, Froggy.
Yeah, a cruel, rich man who is a child of Njord. That's a connection to the sea god that gave Vragi, well, a minor degree of magical power. The sources are very clear. Vragi was universally loathed.
He wasn't just unpleasant. His cruelty was astounding, wasn't it? The sources detail how Vragi once used his water magic to torment a beached whale purely for his own amusement. Just horrible.
Exactly. So Freya is trapped in this miserable existence, but what's fascinating, as you said, is how she immediately begins practicing resistance where she can.
Little things, but they matter.
They really do. Vragi views her as basically a vessel demanding babies and domestic submission, but Freya immediately, privately, takes control of her own body.
Not as humanic.
It's an ancient form of birth control, actively ensuring her looks never would produce children for him.
Wow. So even then, she's fighting back.
This small, silent choice to deny him control is really the first spark of her unfated nature we see.
And her inner life is dominated by another secret she has to hide. Her identity as a child of Axlin, right? A minor goddess.
Yes, and this is a crucial distinction we need to clarify for you. Freya's power manifests as a defensive silver glow. It allows her to encase objects in protective light, often rendering shields, or even like mundane things like a cooking pot, nearly weightless.
So, protective magic, not aggressive.
Exactly. It's a quiet protective power, which stands in sharp contrast to the aggressive, fiery magic of the major godchildren we'll meet later. She spent her life terrified that her controlling father, or worse, the ambitious Jarl Snorri, would discover and, use her power.
That fear of discovery really sets the stage for the catalyst encounter on the beach. Vragi forces her to clean this massive fish catch, fueling her despair.
And in a moment of just sheer rage and frustration, she throws a rescued fish over her shoulder back toward the water.
Only for it to smack a stranger right in the face, standing in the water.
Right in the face. And that stranger is Bjorn. He's instantly defined as danger wrapped in appeal. Tall, chiseled, heavily tattooed, the picture of a warrior. And he immediately deploys a silver tongue, charming her even as she's covered in fish guts. The sources flag that he speaks with a faint accent, possibly from Nordaland, the neighboring kingdom.
Ah, so that immediately signals he's not just some local warrior. He's an outsider.
Potentially. It adds another layer of intrigue right away.
What's fascinating about this first encounter is that Freya is looking for excitement, right? Anything to break the monotony of her endurance, and Bjorn represents that chaos perfectly.
Absolutely. The quiet resistance she built suddenly explodes into a full-scale political crisis. Or, well, it sets the stage for one.
So we move quickly from this weird fish-smacking flirtation to confrontation.
Pretty much. Freya learns Bjorn is Jarl Snorri's supposed son and heir, and far more significantly, a child of Tyr, the god of war.
Tyr, okay, that's serious power.
Yeah.
And he wields a weapon to match.
An axe forged with Tyr's fire, which burns far hotter and brighter than any natural flame. But initially, his goal is surprisingly personal, almost crude.
Really? What is it?
He explicitly told Freya he intended to kill Vragi simply to free her so she could bed him with no concerns for propriety.
Wow, okay. So part desire, part maybe something else.
His motivations at this stage seem like a mix of desire and perhaps a nascent political agenda, which is very quickly seized upon by Snorri.
Ah, Snorri. Always maneuvering.
Which brings us to the most complex betrayal, the moment Snorri manufactures Freya's freedom.
Wait, if Snorri wanted Vragi dead, maybe to consolidate power or just eliminate a headache, why didn't he just kill him? Or let Bjorn do it cleanly? Why force Freya into a duel with Bjorn?
That's the key insight into Snorri's character, isn't it? He wasn't aiming for a simple assassination. He was aiming for psychological and political leverage.
Leverage? How?
The sources note that Snorri intended to test Freya's prowess, sure, but more disturbingly, he wanted Bjorn to delay delivering the killing blow.
Delay? Why?
Waiting for terror to force Snorri's desired outcome. He wanted control over the narrative of Bragi's death, turning it into this public spectacle of, maybe, destiny.
That moment sounds like pure chaos. Freya, fighting for her life against this god-child warrior.
It is! She makes a desperate move and grabs Bjorn's flaming axe.
The Tyr's fire axe. With her bare hand.
Yes, burning her hand severely but disarming him. Bjorn hesitates. He won't murder her, not like that.
And that pause.
That split second of pause is all the unfated Freya needs. She seizes Bjorn's dislodged sword and kills Bragi herself. Boom.
Wow. Just like that.
And that act, slaying her despised husband with the weapon of the war god's child, earns her the moniker Born in Fire.
Born in Fire. Fitting. But her personal freedom is short-lived, I'm guessing. Snorri wouldn't let that stand.
Not a chance. This manufactured crisis immediately transitions into Snorri's carefully laid trap.
She is instantly blackmailed into marrying Snorri Vragi's patron and this wildly ambitious Jarl to protect her family.
Specifically, her brother Gyr's position and his marriage to Ingrid were held hostage. This forces Freya into a purely political arrangement.
It's not a real marriage.
No, it's not consummated. She secures an oath from Snorri to never touch her. Snorri's existing wife, Ylva, even agrees to deceive the public, maintaining the illusion that Snorri has solidified his power through this union.
Ylva agrees. It's interesting why.
We'll get more into Ylva's motives, but for now, this political move is entirely driven by the central conceit of the narrative. Freya is unfated.
Okay, let's pause on that idea because it is the most critical element, right? Being unfated means she can alter the weave of destiny, make choices. The Norns, the weavers of fate, can't predict.
Exactly, and Snorri views her not as a wife, but as a strategic asset. He is obsessed with a prophecy made by Bjorn's mother, Saga.
Bjorn's mother was a prophetess.
A powerful one, yes. Saga foretold the unification of Skaland under a single ruler, a ruler Snorri desperately wants to be. So he's not trying to predict Freya, he's trying to manufacture her decisions to align with his prophecy, using family and political pressure as his tools.
Controlling the uncontrollable.
That's Snorri's game. And this desire to control the unfated woman drives them straight into the next conflict, the Drog trial.
Right, the ascent of Fjaltindr, the sacred mountain. They encounter Drog undead warriors. This must be the first real test of Freya's magic in combat.
It really is. The Drag are key because they can only be destroyed by godfire or magic. Mortal weapons are useless against them.
So Bjorn's axe would work, but...
But there are rules on the mountain. Sometimes godchildren can't use their full power. Freya learns to weaponize her Iceland magic, turning any available object, like a simple pot.
A cooking pot.
Yeah, a pot. Turning it into a weightless shield capable of resisting and flinging the Drog back. It's an immediate, practical application of her unique defensive power.
And importantly, she puts herself at fierce risk to protect Bjorn during this, doesn't she? Because he's stuck using a mortal weapon.
She does. It's a huge moment for their alliance. It deepens their personal connection even as the political tensions back at Snorri's court are starting to really fray.
Ah yes, the court politics. You mentioned Ylva before, Snorri's first wife.
Exactly. We see the internal politics of Snorri's court, which is centered around the rivalry between Bjorn and Ylva. Ylva is a Volva, a seeress.
So she has her own magic, her own insights.
And her own agenda. Ylva has her own son, Leif, who is Bjorn's half-brother and a rival for the heirship. Ylva isn't just worried about Freya, she's worried about Snorri's destructive ambition and the threat Bjorn poses to her fated son's future.
Fated son. So Leif's destiny is known.
Presumably, Ylva believes so. The sources reveal that Ylva was later suspected of conspiring with King Harald, the rival king, to kill Bjorn.
Kill Bjorn. To secure Leif's place.
And protect their home, Halsar. The court is an absolute nest of vipers, and Freya is now right in the center of this poisonous web.
The internal conflict then meets the external horror of the siege of Jorl Nut's fortress, Grindel. This sounds like where things get really brutal.
Oh, it is. This is where Freya experiences the true, visceral cost of war and discovers a darkness within herself she probably didn't know was there.
The siege is brutal, the sources say. Freya's bloodlust takes over, fueled by grief.
Yes, particularly following the death of the healer Liv, someone she cared about. The sources describe her rage as so intense that Bjorn repeatedly had to protect her back. She was just operating on pure, primal fury.
Just lost in it.
Completely. But the greatest tragedy, the ultimate manipulation of fate, perhaps, was the death of her mentor, Jarl Bodil.
What happened to Bodil?
It's a truly tragic and chaotic twist. Bodil was killed by a bolt of lightning from a child of Thor,
Thor's lightning.
which was intended for Freya. Bodil, her steadfast mentor and protector, died taking a blow meant for the woman who can, ironically, survive fire and possess protective magic.
Oh, that's gut-wrenching. It just underscores the random, cruel nature of this world, even one supposedly governed by fate.
And this overwhelming loss forces Bjorn to reflect on the philosophical difference between them, between the fated and unfated. He explains to Freya that being fated offers a perverse comfort. Every decision is simply a confirmation of what the Norns already decided. You just play your part.
But the unfated.
But the unfated, like Freya and himself, must bear the full burden of every choice we make. That statement just crystallizes the true pressure Freya is under. Every casualty, every life saved, is truly, irrevocably on her conscience.
That weight must be crushing.
Mm.
And it carries us into the final act where all the layers of deceit are peeled back.
Yes, revealing the shocking truth about pretty much everyone in her life.
How does it start?
It starts subtly. Freya encounters a hooded specter visible only to her and Bjorn.
A ghost.
Seems like it. It warns her about making a sacrifice or having her thread cut short. Snorri later deduces this specter is Saga, Bjorn's mother.
The prophetess.
The one Snorri believed he successfully eliminated by fire years ago. The past is quite literally haunting them.
And then the familial manipulation comes home to roost. Freya's own mother.
Yeah, her mother confesses, admits to lying about Freya's heritage all her life, and tearfully begs her to end the relationship with Bjorn, admitting she knew they had been intimate.
Wow. After everything.
This is a pivotal moment for Freya's character. Confronted with the decades of calculated, selfish choices made for her, hiding her magic, marrying her to Vragi for wealth, Freya, full of righteous anger, finally chooses to defy her mother completely.
She claims her own path.
Finally, she claims her autonomy from the person who controlled her longest.
But the personal drama is immediately overshadowed by the massive political revelation, right?
Yeah.
The truth about Bjorn himself.
Yes. This changes everything you thought you knew. Freya discovers Bjorn was not Snorri's son at all.
What? Who is he?
He was King Harald's adopted son, a Nordlander spy planted years ago to eventually take Freya and thwart Snorri's prophesied ambition.
No way. So Bjorn, the son of Tyr, Snorri's supposed heir, was actually a spy for the rival kingdom all along, trying to snatch Snorri's unfated prize.
Precisely. His initial flirtation, his killing Vragi, it all looks different now. He wasn't just attracted to her or acting on impulse. He was attempting a tactical seizure.
Mind blown. How does he justify this massive deception to Freya?
By revealing the final betrayal. The fire that supposedly destroyed his mother, Saga, the one Snorri thought he survived, it was actually set by Snorri and Ylva together, not King Harald.
Snorri and Ylva. So Bjorn's whole life
has been driven by vengeance against Snorri, explaining why he was ultimately willing to play this long game, even sacrifice his supposed heirship. Everything Snorri built was based on lies and control.
So during Harald's final siege, Snorri ups the stakes.
He holds Freya's brother Geir and his wife Ingrid hostage, forcing Freya into her ultimate decision. Stay and fight for her family, submitting to Snorri's control, or take her freedom with Bjorn, the man who deceived her but now offers escape.
What does she choose?
She initially chooses to fight, to protect Geir, but destiny, or maybe just chaos, intervenes. A child of Thor named Tora strikes the fortress wall with lightning,
creating an opening.
Exactly. Bjorn sees the opportunity presented by the chaos. He grabs Freya, drags her into the river below the fortress, and pulls them both over a massive, deadly waterfall.
The waterfall, so dangerous.
So steep and destructive that both Skalander and Nordlander observers believe them dead. No one could survive that fall.
And with that final collective belief in their demise, they achieve their true freedom and escape disguised as death.
It seems so. This deep dive really reveals that Freya's true antagonists weren't just the armies or the rival Jarls, were they? It was the suffocating forces of toxic ambition and familial manipulation from her mother, Snorri, Ylva, all attempting to control her thread, her choices.
Then Bjorn.
Bjorn, who began as this charming, dangerous tool of vengeance and espionage, ultimately sacrificed his allegiance, his identity, maybe even his vengeance, to give Freya the choice to be truly unfated, beyond the reach of both Skaland and prophecy.
So Freya, who desperately sought a life of excitement rather than mere endurance, paid a brutal, bloody price for that agency. She leaves friends, mentors, family behind.
But the sources conclude with her escaping with Bjorn to Nordirland, presumed dead by everyone else, finally seeking answers and perhaps real control over her own life.
Which leads us to that final provocative thought for you listening.
If the Norns, the weavers of fate, are believed to implicitly understand the choices a person will make, making them predictable, even if they aren't technically forced, is it possible that Freya and Bjorn's final choice to jump, to leave Skaland, to seek freedom in supposed death, was in its own way the only path they could have possibly woven for themselves? Was even their escape fated?
Something to think about.